Hello everyone, I'm Morgan Merriman, Realtor at RE/MAX Alliance here in Fort Collins, Colorado, and thanks for tuning in to another episode of Lifestyle Living's Community Connection. So today I have the pleasure of sitting down with Leisa Taylor, who is the Director of Communications and Outreach, and then Sophi Wulff, who is the Administrative Assistant here at the Global Village Museum of Arts and Culture in Old Town Fort Collins. So, with a career deeply rooted in promoting cultural diversity and cross-cultural understanding, they have become a driving force behind the museum's mission to foster international connections between Northern Colorado and the world. Under their leadership, the Global Village Museum has blossomed into a renowned institution curating captivating exhibits of folk art, fine arts, and artifacts from diverse corners of the globe. So their strategic communication and outreach initiatives have been instrumental in broadening the museum's impact and reach, making it an indispensable resource for those passionate about global diversity here in Northern Colorado. Thank you both for joining me and taking the time to do this. It's a pleasure to sit down with you guys, learn a little bit about this. I've passed by this many times when I'm parking to go to the Rio or whatever, and I've never popped in. So
we get that a lot.
I bet. But I'm glad to be here, and I'm glad to learn a bit more. So let's just dive right in. Sophi, could you begin by giving our audience an overview of the Global Village Museum of Arts and sort of what your mission is and what you guys do here?
Yeah, definitely. So we opened about 12 years ago, almost 13. It'll be 13 in April.
Okay.
And the goal was a group of people that came together and they had a lot of travel experience, like Peace Corps or just travel, and they had stuff. They had items from all these different places they traveled, and they wanted to show Fort Collins. So that was the idea. It was kind of a community collaboration of like showing off your folk art and your different items from your travels.
Very cool. Okay. Yeah. So, and what are the key objectives or goals that you aim to achieve? Well, I guess this would be really more directed for you. So what are the goals that you aim to achieve as director of this museum?
The goal is when I give presentations, I always say to people, you may not look like me, you may not dress like me, you may not talk like me, you may not eat the same foods that I do, but we are all one people, and the world is all one people. And our goal here is to showcase arts, cultures, histories, peoples, lifestyles around the world, to say that although that we are different, we are all the same in some respects. And showcasing what other people do, how they, their artwork, just to show the people of Northern Colorado what other cultures are. One of our sort of taglines for the museum is, we bring the world to Northern Colorado and showcase Northern Colorado to the world.
Yeah. No, I think, especially in today's day and age where there tends to be so much divisiveness, I think, having a mission in a place like this is extremely important, to really showcase that, you may have your differences, but we are all in this together.
Yeah.
I think it's extremely important. So, very cool. So, Sophi, could you share some of the challenges that you've encountered in promoting cultural diversity and international understanding through this museum and how you've maybe overcome those?
Sure, yeah. I guess sometimes the challenge is just providing context. As like, I have a background in museums, and I think it's our duty really to like provide context for these objects. And sometimes we get a little bit of a pushback of like, no, we shouldn't say that, or that's too sensitive, but I think it's our job. So I definitely think most of it is just kind of like research and trying to really understand these objects and present them in the most educational way we can.
So does the research aspect take quite a bit of time? I mean, if somebody's bringing in something and they explain sort of, I got this here and this is what I think it is, you guys go and do that extra layer, right?
Yeah. So a fancy word we use in museums is provenance, which is just where did this come from?
Yeah.
And it can be like trying to track it down to who made it first and then who sold it to who and who sold it to who. And we do get a lot of people come in and say, well, it was my mom's and it was just in her house. So we have we usually have like a team of interns, and we have a lot of volunteers, and our collections manager is really good at research. So
Nice.
we try to really get that good.
That's good though. It's important because you want to be relaying accurate information. So very nice. Okay, so what strategies have you found are most effective in expanding the museum's reach and the impact within the Northern Colorado community?
Well, I think Leisa does a really great job about this. So we have one main gallery that switches out about every 3 months, and it usually highlights a different part of the world or something that's like a little bit more thematic. So we had like a textiles, and that had lots of different textiles. So what Leisa does is she does a lot of research, and she creates lists of who's gonna find this interesting or applicable to themselves.
Yeah.
And then she emails them and reaches out to them and says, we're doing this thing, you're gonna love this, please come in.
Nice.
Yeah, and I find that really effective and really cool.
You know, you were talking about the challenges. One of our biggest challenges is, like you said, you walked by but it never come in.
Yeah.
From the outside, we look like a small museum. The outside does not accurately relay the depth of the museum. We actually have 4 galleries. As Sophie mentioned, we have a main gallery which rotates every three or 4 months.
Okay.
But we have 3 other galleries. The permanent, 2 permanent, 2 temporary. One of the permanent galleries is which you walk through is the Mundoville Gallery, which means World Village, and it showcases hundreds of miniature and replicas of houses and abodes throughout the world.
Okay.
Then we have the main gallery, which is, of course, a temporary gallery. Then we have the Village Arts Gallery, which is a permanent gallery, and that showcases items, art, objects, and artwork, primarily from Asia and Africa, that were donated by either our founding members or travelers. And then our Hall Gallery, which is appropriately located in the hall, which is a temporary gallery. And we often feature local artists, local craftspeople, and showcase their work in that gallery. So if you walk by, you may think, oh, it's a small gallery, but it's actually a very large gallery with a lot of things for people to see.
Yeah, no, and that's important to know, that like popping in here and looking around, it will be worth your time and you will see what you want to see.
But it's also not a museum where you're going to be overwhelmed.
Of course.
Which, you can go into the Smithsonian or museum in Paris and you don't know where to start. This museum you can go through at your leisure for about an hour and a half. We're only $5 per person for adults. So we're very accessible, very affordable, and you can see it in about that amount of time and then walk out and think, I've seen that museum and it's wonderful.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And that's important. Went to many museums when I was younger, and then many, many museums when I was in college studying abroad. And as interesting as it is, sometimes you just get burnt out when they're too big.
You get overwhelmed.
You get overwhelmed, exactly. I need to take a break and have lunch and revisit this.
Yeah.
So, very cool. So, alrighty. So here we're nearing the end. Here is like a fun one. When you guys are not working, what do you enjoy doing most here in Northern Colorado?
I'm from Washington State, so very cloudy, very rainy. I really enjoy the amount of sunshine we get here, so it's nice to be able to actually go outside and hike or do something in the sunshine, but not overheat.
Yeah.
So my favorite is Horsetooth.
Yep.
It's beautiful up there.
Even and especially in November when, maybe you need a light jacket or vest. It's high 50s, low 60s, but it's sunny and it's comfortable.
Yeah, definitely.
Cool. How about you? What do you enjoy?
I enjoy, this is crazy, but I enjoy my work, and I cannot, let this interview
That's not
end
crazy. That's good.
when we also have an international music room in addition to the 4 galleries, which children love because they can come in and play the instruments. But my baby at the museum is something called the Losel Dollhouse, and that is spelled Losel. And just a brief background, Tibet, which is to the southwest of China, it's about 1/4 the size of the U.S. In the 1950s, late 1950s, the newly established communist China wanted to take over Tibet for their mineral resources and also to have a military barrier. And in 1959, they actually invaded Tibet and they demolished almost all of the 6,000 Buddhist monasteries in that country. And about 250 Tibetans fled China and set up an government in exile in India. And so this was 1959. Switch forward about 20 years, and the Tibetans exiled in India realized that their way of life, their costumes, their dress, they were going to vanish because they probably were never and haven't been able to go back to Tibet. And a member of the Buddhist monastery in Tibet had coincidentally married an American woman. And together they put together a program to make by hand dolls, and they're called Losel dolls.
Okay.
And they reflect the traditional costumes, dress, accessories, hair, everything about the Tibetan culture. And one of our founders, Jean Nash, saw an exhibition in New York City of Losel dolls. She loved them. Over the next 20 years, she bought about 50 Losel dolls.
Oh, wow.
From India, from Kim Yeshi in India, and had them imported here. And we have the collection of the 50 dolls, and outside of the Losel Doll Museum, actually in India, we have the largest private collection in the country. It is absolutely fascinating. I would love to give a program on it to anyone listening.
Yeah.
So, but come in and see the Losel dolls. As I say, they are handmade from hand to toe. Their bodies, their hands, their faces, the dress, and the costumes, they were hand sewn, and you cannot see a single stitch. They were so well done.
That's wild.
So, and
you
I
said
will,
the largest collection in the United
largest
States.
private collection
Wow.
in the United States.
That's impressive.
It is.
Okay. Alrighty, well, definitely come check that out for sure. Alrighty, guys, well, we are here at the end. I want to thank you again for taking the time to do this. Thank you to all of you for tuning in to learn about just another amazing place here right in our backyard in Old Town. The Global Village Museum of Arts and Culture is dedicated to uniting the local community with the world's cultural richness. It accomplishes this by curating diverse exhibits, promoting educational endeavors, and fostering an environment of international appreciation and connectivity. So next time you're in Old Town, don't just walk on by. Stop in, see what this amazing place is all about. So
Yes, you will be amazed.
there you go. I love it. Well, once again, I'm Morgan Merriman, Realtor at RE/MAX Alliance here in Fort Collins. If you have a business or you know somebody who does who would like to be interviewed on my interview series, go ahead and reach out to me. All my information will be at the end of this video. And of course, I'm always happy to help out you and your loved referrals for any real estate needs. So thanks, and we'll see you next time.